You all requested more videos of Rampage Poker losing all his money. All right, here you go.
No, maybe, 100%.
Maybe.
Raise a 600.
Gillette, we got a razor.
Wolfgang, you put 100 on there?
另3把明明
No.
心愿。
Sadler, King Jack suited.
Raised to 1600.
Rampage
1500.
raised. Wolfgang called with 8s on the button. Sadler 1600.
Call.
Thank you for the offer.
I'm glad you accepted it. I have a lot of respect for you.
Call. 3 punt.
As a
Even
per-
I lose,
Playing $40,000 deep effective at 50, 100, 200. Rampage in the cutoff raises the 7 of clubs, 5 of diamonds. That's a good hand to start punting with. Wolfgang on the button calls with pocket 8s. Good, strong poker. Then Sadler makes it 1,600 from the small blind with King Jack of diamonds. I'm fine with the re-raise, but I think in this spot you want to re-raise much bigger because when you make it only 1,000 more, Rampage is never folding, whatever he has, and Wolfgang's also not going to fold whatever he has because he's in position getting amazing odds. If you're going to re-raise from out of position, you want to make it much larger, something like the size of the pot or more. Size of the pot in this scenario is roughly 4.5 times Rampage's 600, so call it 2,700 bucks. And because you're out of position and because you're deep stacked, you probably want to make it more like 3,500 or 4,000. That way, the players yet to act cannot call stuff like 7-5 in position, and pocket 8s certainly doesn't love it because they're starting to cut off his implied odds to make a set. That said, 1,600. Both players call, of course. Let's go to the flop.
how do you say, like, appreciate that offer?
Yeah, you got the best.
Rampage
side.
flops the open-ender while Wolfgang flops 8s full.
Not a bad flop for Wolfgang.
Very good talk.
Dynamite drop in, Brent. That broadcasting school has really paid off.
Very good talk.
Thank you, Jeff.
Arigato?
Thank you. Thank you, right?
Arigato.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias.
Sadler leading. Rampage makes the call.
Gracias is Spanish. I'm just helping clear up the
Gracias.
conversation. Just got to impart what I know.
The flop comes 8, 6, 6, 1 diamond. Sadler has backdoor flush draw and 2 overcards. Rampage has an open-ended straight draw. And Wolfgang has the second nuts that is not going to be getting outdrawn on this hand. Sadler decides a continuation bet, $1,600. This is probably reasonable enough. In multi-way pots, you often want to be betting very small. When the board contains a pair, you often want to be betting very small. So this is a spot where I think a small bet is fine if you are going to bet. However, I think it's probably fine just to check fold here because both Rampage and Wolfgang will be playing a lot of hands containing middle cards, and no hand with a straight draw or 8 or 6 is ever going to fold. And Sadler's not really going to be able to continue on too many turns or for a lot of money unless he improves. So I get that he has a hand that will improve some chunk of the time with the 2 overcards backdoor flush draw, but I think it's probably better just to check. Anyway, he goes for the bet. Then Rampage, of course, calls with the open-ended, and very importantly, Wolfgang just calls the pocket 8s. Don't screw this spot up by raising. A lot of people think, all right, stacks are deep. I have the nuts. I want to get the money in. You have to realize, what are you going to get the money in with in this scenario? You're going to get it in against 6s, pretty much only, or maybe overpairs. But you're going to win a lot of money from 6s anyway, and you're going to win a lot of money from overpairs anyway, so you're not really concerned about that. What you're really concerned with is getting money from nothing, like 7-5 or King Jack. You want these hands to improve badly, and if you raise in the spot, they're just going to fold a lot of the time. So, slow play. Especially from in position. Especially when you're not vulnerable to being outdrawn.
Wolfgang makes the call.
He's
Turn is a
I always
5.
say to himself, he's like, I wish I could deal this game
I
every
think
day.
Sadler now just got to shut it
Yeah.
down. No pair, no draw. You've been called in 2 spots.
2-5 no limit.
You know, he's in here a lot. Alan's a
Yeah,
seasoned
he's usually the
vet, buddy.
4. He usually
He's a
runs the
seasoned
whole
vet.
room. He usually
Does
runs
Jack.
the whole room. Him and Paul.
And let's see if Rampage does what he's known for,
Every single pot.
a ram punt.
With him dealing.
That is indeed his online name. So he'd be the first to admit it. Now he checks. Come on, give him some credit, some
Fair,
respect. That's
fair.
a new Rampage.
You're right. He's turned over a new leaf.
That's right.
Where's it at?
They took the marshmallows?
Wolfgang will fire.
Cinco de Mayo.
Probably 5,500, Brent, if I had to guess. Yep, nailed it.
The turn is the 5 of hearts. King Jack of diamonds definitely needs to get out of the way, as it does. Rampage, with his bottom pair and open-ended, has a pretty easy check in my mind. If he bets, he's not going to get any 8 or better to fold. So I don't really see much of a point in betting. And if he does get to check it down, his 5 is going to win some chunk of the time. Now, unlike on the flop, Wolfgang needs to get money in. When the opponents were betting on the flop, it's perfectly reasonable to slow play. But now that they have checked, Wolfgang has to start building the pot. Also, this is a great spot to bet because if anyone has anything on this board, a 7 for an open-ended, even a 9 with an overcard for a gut shot, a 6 or a 5, those are just not going to fold to a reasonably sized bet. Now, in this situation, the pot is 10,000 and Wolfgang has 31,000 in a stack. I know the graphics are a little bit funny in this scenario. So, how much should he bet to make sure he can get it in by the river? Well, if he bets 5,000, let's just say, as he does, he's going to get called by one player some chunk of the time. The pot's going to be 20,000, and he's going to have 26,000 remaining in his stack for a bit more than the size of the pot overbet shove on the river, which is perfectly reasonable. As stacks get deeper and deeper and deeper, though, I think he needs to bet a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger so he can make that all-in shove on the river. Something a lot of people do very wrong is they bet tiny on the turn, and then they have 2 times the size of the pot on the river. And then, when your opponent checks the river, if you go all in for 2x the size of the pot, which you often want to do with your effective nut hands, you're not going to get all that many calls because you're making a huge overbet. But if you bet a little bit bigger on the turn, like Wolfgang does here, 5,500, maybe even 6,200, that will often result in your opponent getting still okay odds on the turn, but way better odds on the river, which will result in you getting paid off more often. So he goes 5,500. Let's see what develops.
Outstanding work,
Thank
Jeff.
you. I mentioned earlier, this was a new Rampage.
Yeah.
The check call, though, is very possible.
It's 4th down. Are we going to go for it or just punt?
He doesn't punt anymore. It's a new Rampage. Now, check call's totally fine. I mean, we know he's dead, but he's got the open ender. He's got the 5.
14.
Oh no.
You were saying, Jeff?
Well, he makes it 14.
Rampage now decides to turn his hand into a bluff. I don't know about this. I'm not sure if Wolfgang's ever going to fold a 6. He's never going to fold a straight. He may not even fold an 8. And the problem here is that whatever size Rampage uses, Wolfgang is going to be getting amazing odds, both on the turn and the river. Notice here, Rampage goes us to 14,000, and once Wolfgang calls, he only has 22,000 remaining in his stack. So on the river, if Rampage shoves, Wolfgang only needs to win about 25-ish% of the time, and because there are going to be lots of busted straight and flush draws on the river, whatever type of hand Wolfgang has that has any sort of showdown value is going to feel pretty implied to call against ram punts. So this is a spot where I do not like this bluff at all. Rampage doesn't care, though. He goes 14,000. Let's see how Wolfgang proceeds.
Okay. Makes it 14. The absolute dream for Wolfgang.
The way Rampage has played it, it just looks like he must have trips.
Yeah.
Could we get it in now? Or you've got 8s full. Why shove?
Yeah.
What are you afraid of?
Right.
I think he's just thinking about the hot sauce.
Italia.
What part of Italy?
No idea.
You don't know?
No.
You don't know your own heritage? You got to find that out. You got to. I'm
How
sure
about
I
you,
could.
Jimmy?
Italian and Irish.
Are you?
Yeah,
Italian?
yes. Yeah, that surprises you.
Italiano?
Yeah, Italiano. Yeah, no, what? That's not a
Just
change.
calls. 38K in the pot.
As on the flop, when money was going in from the other players, Wolfgang should slow play here. You may say, shouldn't he shove? Because Rampage is getting good odds to call if he shoves in the spot, and you want him to call with whatever he has. The answer is no. You want to give Rampage every possible opportunity to bluff. If your opponent will bluff, as Rampage has made it very clear he really, really, really likes doing. It's as if he hates money. You have to keep him in the pot. And right here, if Wolfgang shoves for 22,000 more, I think Rampage is going to fold a decent chunk of the time, even with this pair and open-ended. Maybe he just calls it off anyway. But imagine he had 9-5 instead for the gut shot. That's probably going to fold, right? Or imagine he just decided to go nuts with the 10-9. That's going to fold, right? So this is a spot where Wolfgang simply must call, as he does. Let's head to the river.
Wolfgang about 23 behind.
Isn't it obvious? Oh, it's because this looks
River
a little
card.
different. I look like I could be a
It's a
Colombian
7.
drug lord with it pulled back like
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, no, it's
Italian drug lord.
no, it's just it's funny. For 20 years, they've never no one's ever said anything to me with sometimes little cash, sometimes.
Oh, no. Oh, Rampage said all of it.
Oh, wow.
Rampage said all of it. And Wolfgang double-checked, made sure he had 2 8s, happy to make the call, and happy to win a massive pot, the biggest pot of the day, $83,000 headed in Wolfgang's direction.
Not just the biggest pot of the day, but the biggest pot
Not to needle
ever
but
by
someone should
Wolfgang.
they should zoom in on my pulse right now.
Why is that?
I don't know. I feel like
Going
my
insane.
whole body is like
The biggest
like
game he's ever played, so
hard
naturally
under
this
my
would be the
nose.
biggest
That's
pot,
probably
like
the
Brent
biggest pot you've ever
mentioned.
won.
No, it is.
Oh, is it?
It was already on the turn. Yeah.
Really?
I don't really play big games.
It's the biggest pot on the turn before they got any
you
money
didn't
in on the
have to-
river.
Oh
It's the
my
biggest
Could've got
pot for
to that
Wolfgang.
moment 5 minutes ago.
He just won an $83,000 pot.
On the river, I think Rampage should have just given up, but instead he decides to punt his money in. Wolfgang calls and wins the biggest pot of his poker career. What I want to know, before we leave today, is what is the biggest pot you have ever played? Take a second, think about it, write it in the comment section down below, and while you're down there, click the like and subscribe button for me. My biggest pots have all been in tournaments, where I've won World Poker Tour events. 2 times I've got to play heads up for $500,000. Luckily, I won both of those. One time I got heads up and I was playing for something like $700,000 difference though, and I lost. That was probably the biggest pot ever. I got it in with 0% equity. The flop was something like 7-7-5. I think I had king 5 and he had king 7. That's not so good. Such is life. I'll survive. Good luck in your games. I appreciate each and every one of you. And don't play like Rampage.